All right. Hey, welcome back. This is episode 5 of the Agents Unleashed podcast, a show that helps you to sort the signal from the noise in the fast-paced world of agentic AI. I'm your host, Thomas Maybrier, and I'm the digital media producer for Valerie, one of the core contributors to OLIS. And if you haven't heard of OLIS or you haven't heard of Agents Unleashed, let me quickly tell you a little bit about both. So OLIS makes it easy for anyone to own and monetize an AI agent, and that includes people like you. To learn more about how you can do that, you can head to olis.network. And Agents Unleashed isn't just a podcast, it's also the premier event series for people interested in AI agents. Gatherings have been held all over the world, and there's been over 75 speakers and presenters and more than 2,500 in-person attendees. The next Agents Unleashed event has recently been announced. It'll be held June 30th in Cannes, in France. If previous events are anything to go by, it's going to be great, so you're going to want to lock in an RSVP now. You can do that through the link that you'll find in the show notes or the description box if you're watching on YouTube. Hope to see you there. Okay, so on today's show, I want to share some in-production agentic AI demos, some promising advances that could enable more agents like them, and some thoughts about where we might be headed. Okay, so let's start with something fresh from the team behind SmolAgents. If you're not familiar with SmolAgents, it's a library that allows Python agents to think in code. They've set up a demo called Open Computer that's comprised of 3 parts. It's got the Smol Agent library, Alibaba's Qwen 2 model that it uses for reasoning, and a sandbox Linux virtual computer hosted by E2B. Put together, these components let you assign an AI agent a task, and then it can use the computer to attempt to complete that task. I was actually able to try this out for myself, and I've got some footage, so I'm going to put that up on screen for those of you watching on YouTube or Spotify. So, like I said, I had some mixed results, so let's talk about them. So first, there is a queue. This is a space that's provided by the SmolAgents team. So if you want to use it and there are other people who want to use it, you have to get into a queue. Now, the first time I tried it, the queue was anywhere from 8 to 30 people long, and I didn't really get much success. One time, the agent did get into a workflow, but got stuck on a CAPTCHA, and I didn't have it up on screen, so I wasn't able to proceed. So what I did with the agent is I asked it to find me a cheap holiday destination in Italy with beach access. And yeah, like I said, mixed results. What happened was the agent took my prompt, turned it into text, and then attempted to do a Google search with that. So it opened the browser, it navigated into the search bar, it pasted in my query, but as soon as we hit Google, we ran into a CAPTCHA. Now, what the SmolAgents team suggests you do here is pause the agent and solve the CAPTCHA for it. Now, the first time I wasn't watching the screen, so I didn't get to this step, and the agent just kept attempting to solve the CAPTCHA, and then we ran out of time. There was some kind of error and it stopped working. This morning, when I tried it again, I did get to the CAPTCHA. I stopped the agent, and then as you'll see if you're watching on screen, I solved a few CAPTCHAs, and then eventually the space stopped responding to my clicks. So unfortunately, I was never able to see what this agent can do, and I'm going to have to choose my own holiday destination this year. So yeah, this was frustrating, but that's how these demos sometimes go. What is cool here, though, is the approach, and I was able to see the results of other people trying out this agent. So what this demo does, they're combining open source tooling in a way that lets the AI see the desktop. This isn't the fastest way to build an agentic AI by any means. Using APIs and more traditional programming patterns would obviously be much faster. But maybe this clicking through the user interface behavior appeals to some users, and maybe there's going to be space for that as we see AI agents like mature and take new forms. It's worth pointing out that there's always going to be ideas that people have that are not easily accessible through traditional programming paths. Not everybody has that ability or necessarily wants to do it. But as I saw with the demo, like the web is not set up for AI agents to be used in this way. Like the CAPTCHA problem just completely stopped the agent from functioning for me. Now, this is just a demo, but there are some other agents like it on the market, and there's some important differences that I will point out. ChatGPT has an operator function. It costs $200 with the ChatGPT Pro subscription, but it does give you access to operator. An operator uses the browser similar to the way that the Open Computer agent eventually attempted to do when it tried to complete my task. There's also some open source alternatives. There's an extension called Browser Use that does require some technical know-how. I haven't tried it. It's cheaper. It's $30 a month. But yeah, one big difference between Operator and Browser Use and Open Computer is that Open Computer is running in a sandboxed environment in the cloud. It's not your computer. Now, that's great for privacy, of course, but to build a truly useful computer use agent that's clicking around through a UI like this, you're going to want it to have access to your machine, but that's going to come with some serious privacy trade-offs, obviously. In most cases, if you've got an agent like this looking at your computer, it's taking screenshots of your desktop, of anything that's open, and most likely sending that to a centralized LM provider where you completely lose control of it. Not only do you lose control, but you don't even know what is being done with it, and that should definitely give you pause. It's a relatively big ask for a honestly unproven value proposition. A demo like this does show that it is possible to run powerful AI agents in the cloud. That's very cool. We may see more of that in certain use cases. Perhaps there's undiscovered utility there. But again, there's open questions. Who captures the value? If we bring this to the user's desktop, how do we protect their privacy? How do we communicate the trade-offs? So on and so forth. It's definitely a messy area with some interesting UX challenges to be solved. That takes us to Microsoft now, who have also made some announcements around agentic AI. They've made it clear recently that they see agents as a core Windows feature, and so it wasn't surprising that at their recent Build conference, they announced some new agentic features. One that I found particularly interesting is this idea of an agent that you use to adjust the settings on your computer by giving it direct access to the settings menu. There's also Copilot Vision, which is a way to allow their Copilot assistant to see the contents of your desktop. This feature is already available to Windows insiders, and it's also on mobile. I think this is the most direct implementation of agentic behavior on a consumer desktop that we've seen so far, and I personally do expect to see more of this. This type of behavior brings us right back to the earlier concerns that I outlined about having an AI agent have access to your desktop, your personal computer. Unless Microsoft is running Copilot Vision entirely on device, presumably not only screenshots, but personally identifiable information, sensitive metadata is all being sent to their servers where, again, you're losing control of it. From a privacy standpoint, it's a black box. Not only do you not know how your data is used, but you don't even know where it's going. And you certainly don't have any control over it. If AI agents are going to become this tightly embedded into our personal computing context, I'd say that we need really clear guarantees around transparency and the security of our data. I am curious to see how people respond to this kind of agentic behavior. Will they embrace it? Do they have concerns? Do they find it useful? Oh yeah, all of this remains to be seen. It's also worth asking why people are excited about this type of agentic behavior in the first place. It's definitely interesting, but I personally don't see this as the dominant paradigm for agentic computing going forward. I suspect that as agentic AI behavior becomes more mainstream, every platform and system will support it natively. You're not going to need to simulate the user clicking through the interface because the system can expose the same functionality directly through an agent-friendly layer. In the future, this type of screenshot-based computer use agent may have some niche applications for a very particular type of user or for edge cases where APIs don't and won't ever exist. But as a general purpose approach to AI agents, I don't think this is it. Earlier, I mentioned OpenAI's Operator, which works in the same way where the AI agent controls the browser. Yash Kumar, one of OpenAI's engineers who worked on the Operator team, said this about it, quote, "We're starting with the browser because this is where the majority of work happens." He also said, "The ability to use the same interfaces and tools that humans interact with on a daily basis broadens the utility of AI, helping people save time on everyday tasks," end quote. So there's another perspective. We may see these computer use agents stick around for a while, but it's all going to depend on where the time and energy goes and what people actually find useful. Okay, so moving on, I want to talk a little bit about Google. They've made some real progress with multimodal models recently, in particular the Gemini Pro and Gemini Flash models. These are multimodals that are designed to handle audio, text, video, and they have the ability to write and execute code. One of my favorite things that they have demoed recently using the Gemini Pro model is a simple but powerful idea. What they do in the demo is give Gemini a YouTube URL and a prompt. The model then analyzes the video, writes a spec for a learning application. That spec is then turned into code, which is then used to generate a learning application to help walk you through the concepts and ideas in the video. In the example from their blog post, they watch a video about eyeglasses and generate a quiz where you match the type of lens to the type of vision correction that's needed. It's very cool, and what gives it an edge is the ability to look at what's on screen and then combine that with the text transcript of the video. Many AI models can already do this, but Gemini is particularly good at it. Apparently, it can analyze up to 6 hours of video content in this way. If you imagine pairing a highly functional model like this with SmolAgents' open computer demo, it's not hard to imagine very powerful agentic AI use cases. Maybe just demos or proof of concepts, but yeah, I'd love to see what people can do with this tech. All of these demos do raise a big point that I want to get you thinking about. If you've got an AI agent watching your screen or looking at your files, who owns that experience? Are you just helping to build another cloud product with your data, not being compensated for it? Are you potentially exposing sensitive personal information? Is there any way to take part in the upside? I think this is where the OLS approach to AI agents really shines. Every agent in the OLS ecosystem is by definition open source, and the protocol includes what I sometimes describe as an incentivization layer called proof of active agent staking. This is a mechanism that developers can leverage to get people to run their agent and the operators who run those agents to be compensated for doing so. This means that the more helpful the tool, the more people can benefit from it. And you get this compounding effect where instead of having an AI agent running in isolation, you're actually building an agentic economy that can produce outcomes of its own. And that's the direction that I want to leave you with today. The building blocks are obviously here. We've got open source libraries like SmolAgents, multimodal models like Gemini are making serious progress. User-facing agentic AI is coming to the desktop with Microsoft Copilot Vision. These tools are probably early, they're going to be imperfect, but they're going to be foundational, particularly in communicating the power and promise of agentic AI to everyday users. Before we go, I want to throw it to you. Would you use an AI agent like this? Would you let one control your computer, see your desktop? Have you tried the SmolAgents demo? What happened? Did it work for you? And I'd also like to invite you to leave a comment, rate the show, and share it with a friend, colleague, or family member that you think might get something out of it. And by the way, don't forget to RSVP for the next Agents Unleashed event. It's June 30th in Cannes. Links to more information about that can be found in the show notes or the description box if you're watching on YouTube. All right, we'll leave it there for this week. This has been the Agents Unleashed podcast, and I'll see you next time.